Hey there! So I told you about these couple of pens I got from someone. They belong to her father. They've been in a desk drawer for quite a while. I had to restore some of them, and I'm just going to cover them. I already talked about this first one, the really cheap. I'm guessing Chinese pen. I didn't have a brand on that, so I couldn't tell you a whole lot about it. I can tell you a bit more about some of the other pens. One of which I really liked was this one. And there were actually two. These are by a brand called Hoover, like the vacuum cleaners. I'd never heard of that brand. I couldn't find a whole lot of information about it online. Some people said it was Japanese, some people said it was Italian. So I won't go into the history of the brand. I think it's much more interesting to just cover the pens. Okay, so these two are button fillers. For those of you not familiar with that, it means there is a sack in the pen, a rubber sack, and it has a blind cap. I have to be careful because this one is cracked. It's glued together, not by me, but you see that's a button. I cannot push that because there's ink in there. But inside here is a pressure bar, which is just sort of a metal bar, which has a little thing, and when you push this button, that bar is engaged and sort of pushes against the sack. And that way, you push out air, you put this in a bottle of ink, you push the button, and air is pushed out, and then ink is drawn up, which is pretty interesting. I won't cover this black one today. Today I want to talk about the green one. The green one's a button filler too, but I have to restore that part because the pressure bar broke. I have to get a new pressure bar. These things are not that expensive, you can buy them. This is the Hoover Deluxe. That's what's on there. It's engraved on the barrel, Hoover Deluxe, which is great because that way it's much easier to identify a specific model of pen. It's not a very wide pen. It's not huge, but I think it's very pretty. I don't know whether this is, I'm guessing acrylic, maybe celluloid. I just don't know. I think it looks very nice. The green has some nice marbling on it. Looks pretty cool. Cover the parts of the pen. Tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and that's all there's to it. So, start with the cap. There's a type of diamond on there. It's not a real diamond. It's just the term diamond. It's plastic, sort of like a pyramid. And there's a clip. Be a little careful here. Has some spring to it, but I won't push that. This part of the cap came off. It was just sort of broken. I put some shellac on the threads, gently pushed it in, let it dry overnight. Now it's in there again. Two little holes in the cap, one on either side. I don't think you can see them very well, but there are holes. As far as I understand, those are made not to make sure that the cap doesn't draw any vacuum. The pen doesn't draw a vacuum when you put the cap on, and then we get ink in there, etc. And it would be difficult to get it off, right? Two nice little rings. I'm assuming this is not real gold, but some type of metal. Barrel, as I said, it has Hoover Deluxe engraved. I probably can't even show you. I know that my camera won't focus and it just won't pick it up. A blind cap, which you can screw off. The threads were gone, so I had to work with what I got. I just put a little bit of tape on there, and now at least it stays in place. There's a button, but I have to restore that. As I said, the pressure bar broke. So this is what you would push usually. It would actually spring back. It wouldn't be so easy to push. The sack would compress and then decompress and draw up ink. I did put a new sack in because the sack was petrified. Literally, it was just very hard, which is what happens. If you leave a rubber sack out with some ink in it, it just ossifies, turns into stone. So it's petrified and it's gone. I pulled that out. You sort of, it's easy to get out because it's just very hard and brittle, so it just breaks off. I got that out. I didn't ruin the pressure bar. The pressure bar was just broken inside. I'm afraid someone may have used it, when the sack was ossified, and you just, you squeeze it and nothing happens, and then it may break. It was corroded, so that's what happens. Nib, 14 karat gold, nice, has some flex to it. It says Hoover Super. I'm assuming this was one of their, more high-end lines. It has a gold nib after all. The black one I showed you earlier does not, so that's what made me think that. Has a breather hole, a small nib, looks like a pretty vintage, standard vintage nib. Not that big, 14 karat gold, has some nice flex to it. It's not a wet noodle, but I'll show you a writing sample later on. Pretty cool. Nice feed, nothing too fancy. I think it's ebonite, but maybe it's plastic. I'm not absolutely sure. One of these nice old vintage sections, so shaped like an hourglass. I kind of like that. Threads, a little sharp, but nothing too bad. That's all there's to it. Now, unposted, I could use it, and I probably will, because with a vintage pen, I don't really like posting it. I don't want to damage the barrel, but in theory, I'll be careful here. You can post it if you like, and it works. Nice nib. I smoothed it out a bit because it was a bit rough, and that's all there's to it. So what do I like about it? What do I don't like about it? Well, clearly this is a nice find. Someone gave this to me. She wasn't using them. She said she enjoyed, someone having it who actually likes pens and enjoys them. So I think it's a great find. This is not $1 million pen. This is not something that'll, cost thousands of dollars if you were to sell this. I don't think it would make that much money, but I think it's just beautiful. And that's something I like. I like that green, the dark mottled green. I think it's a very nice finish. So I think it's a nice find. 14K nib, nice and flexy. Very cool. Stuff I don't like about it, well, it's a vintage pen. It has some issues. As I said, the threads that keep the blind cap in place are gone. I think this pen was used a lot, and that's what happens. So that's one of the nice things with a vintage pen, that someone used this decades ago. Used this to, I don't know, write letters, sign bills, do stuff. Been in a desk drawer for years and years. Now it's pretty much restored. Still got to work on that pressure bar, but I'll get one. I'll get that fixed, and then it's working again. And I think that's really, really nice. So that's pretty cool. There's nothing about it I don't like. I mean, the size could have been a bigger pen. I prefer bigger pens, but this is what I got. This is a vintage pen. Vintage pens tend to be a bit small. That's it. So really, really nice find. I think it's time for a writing sample. So that's all there's to it. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so the Hoover Deluxe. Look at the nice little marbling on there. I think that looks pretty cool. The pen is not yet fully restored. I still need to get a pressure bar in there to restore the button mechanism. But the one that came with this pen broke, as I told you, so I have to work with what I've got. Now, this pen seems to have some flow issues. I have to write a little slowly. But bloody hell, look at this. Hoover Deluxe, 14K nib. Nib is smooth. Ink is waterman. I put down FLBL, Florida Blue. Writing. I go a bit quicker, just see. Keeps up nicely, very good. B.R.E box? No, Fox. What am I doing today? Very funny pen. Very funny. Not scratchy. Pretty nice. Something that's kind of funny about this nib is that if you look at it like this, I can't show you, I can't zoom in and make it focus. But if you look at it like this, so you got this is the nib, right? Seen from the top, and then here you got the shoulder. I'm not a very good artist, but I can make this clear. Even I can draw this. So Here you have the tines, which are too long, of course. I misdrew them, and that doesn't really matter. Usually you got that sort of tipping material, right? It's sort of like a ball. Well, with this pen, see if I can do a somewhat better job. No, now it looks like a tank. If you look at it, the tipping is like this. I exaggerated a bit now, but that's sort of what it looks like. So it really goes down a bit there, which is kind of fascinating. I don't recall ever having seen that. What this allows you to do, I mean, I'm not sure whether it's exactly that, but, you know, that combined with the nice 14K nib just give you some nice vintage flex. Not a wet noodle, but hello. Nurse. Isn't that beautiful? Come on, you've got to love this. If you have to go a bit slow, otherwise the feed won't keep up. Beautiful. I love it. Isn't it fantastic? I absolutely love it. Great flow, nice and wet. Look at that. Look at the way it just covers the page with ink. Wetness, wetness. It's not excessively wet, but it has beautiful flow. Very pleasant to use. I just love this. Fast writing. I think the pen is going to fail there. I think it won't keep up. Well, well, well. Bit of a skip there, but I applied almost no pressure. I think the pen wasn't actually touching the paper. Wow, flow improved overnight. When I used it last night it was skipping, but I think now the feed is more saturated or something. I'm not sure how that works. Oh, this is absolutely gorgeous. I'm really happy with this pen. So I restore the button mechanism, then I've got a restored pen. What can I say? I think it's gorgeous. Look at the marbling, look at the beautiful dark green. Fantastic little pen. So I hope this was useful. You ever find one of these, get it. I can't imagine they're that expensive. It's not a hugely familiar brand as far as I know, but you may just end up with a very nice little pen. And that's all there's to it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.